Hello again, and welcome to another episode of One Starfish, where our mission is to help change the world one starfish or one person at a time. Thanks, guys, for always rating, reviewing, subscribing, sharing. That's how we get the word out about what we do. I really appreciate it. I know our guests appreciate it because they want to get their stories out. They've got powerful stories. I'm excited for our guest today. Lisa and I just met. Her company is Organize 365, which we'll get into that too. I don't know what it all does completely, but organization sounds great. And you know, was a mama while she was raising, doing this business. She started 14 years ago. So excited to get into all of it. Welcome to the show, Lisa.
Thanks so much for having me, Angela. It's funny that you say, I don't know what Organize 365 does, because when I started, I didn't know what it was going to do either. I just knew I had a name and I just got started. I was like, okay, so I'll talk about organizing for the rest of my life. I have no idea how I'll turn this into a business. Let's go.
That's so cool. I love that. Well, yeah, let's get into that. So you, before that, you were, raising your kids, and then you told me this, off video, I guess. You needed to make more income, so you started working multiple jobs. Tell us a little bit about
Yeah.
that, and then, where the decision started to become an entrepreneur, which I find interesting. We'll dig into that too. So go ahead.
Yeah, so I think my story is unique, but it's not really that unique. I think a lot of us here are like, oh, I didn't really realize that's what I was doing when you hear somebody else's story. So I went to college. I was a school teacher, ended up adopting our children and was a stay-at-home mom, which was my original goal. Like get married, have kids, be a stay-at-home mom. That's all I ever wanted to do. Turns out kids are like ridiculously expensive. And also I wanted to send them to private school. And they're like things I wanted to do with my kids that were beyond my husband's salary. So I started earning the extra money, the fun money, the money that got us to Florida to see his family every summer. And I did that through direct sales. So I was a leader in creative memories, but I've been in over 20 direct sales companies. And I usually
Wow.
make money in whatever company I'm in. So in 2011, I was still in five direct sales companies, Creative Memories, and four other ones. So I earned enough money to get 1099s from those companies. I was also cleaning houses. I was doing tutoring. I was teaching in a school. I had nine Schedule C's on my tax return in 2011 because I got nine different 1099s or W-2s. So that's what we do as women. Like we just like keep I'll earn $50 here. I'll save $50 here. I'll watch your kids if you do my laundry. Like just all this stuff that we do just to make it all work. And I literally ended at the end of 2011. I was a burnt out little crisp of a person, and I was doing way too many things, not making enough money, not meeting any of my own personal expectations. My husband didn't say anything, my kids didn't say anything, but I knew I wasn't providing for them and doing what I wanted to in the household because I'd gone back to working. And so I quit my teaching job in December of 2011 because I just couldn't do it all. And then in January 2012, I was like, okay, well, now you just gave up your teaching job. So now you have even less money. Like you have to make more money, Lisa. You have to figure out a way to make money and be available for your family. And also, could you get this house organized? Because I didn't even recognize it anymore. I was overweight. I was on antidepressants. I was negative. I was reactive. I was a witchy person to be around. Like, I didn't recognize myself or the life I was living. And I realized the women in my family live into their 90s. And I was like, I can't live 50 more years this way. Like, I've got to change something. So I was like, well, the other thing I know about the women in my family, and this is unusual, I was a fourth generation female college graduate. Like, my great grandmother had gone to college and gotten a college degree. But what's even more interesting is all of those ladies, my mom, my grandmother, and my great grandmother, started and owned their own businesses. My mom started a company in our basement when I was in second grade. And when I was in eighth grade, she sold it. Like, and I traveled with her for a week out to Pennsylvania to the woman she sold it to while she trained her. And then we came back and my mom had like sold a company. Like, that was my childhood. And I was like, okay, Lisa, you know that you have this unique heritage that you could start and grow a company because it's just what the women in your family do. What are you going to do? Because once you start and grow something that you are in charge of, it can flex with your family and you can have more income potential because whatever you effort you put in, you will reap the reward of it. So it's like, okay, well, I've either had jobs or been successful because I either organized somebody or I was organized. So I will name it Organize 365 because I'm pretty sure that's good for SEO because this is 2012. And then I will figure out how it makes money later. I just started the blog, Organize 365, and I was like, let's go.
Wow, that's so it makes a lot of sense. It answers a lot of the questions I was having as far as like why would you do this? Yeah, well, you were raised that way. So that
Yeah.
explains that. And you were doing 9 different things in one year. That's crazy. And all these different direct sales companies, which I'm curious about. You said you did well, relatively at least. Not well enough to do just one, but well enough to do compared to most. What do you think some of the secrets were in that? Because I think a lot of people, look at direct sales or MLMs or home-based businesses or whatever, and some don't make any money. Most don't make any money, really, to be truthful. What do you feel the difference was there?
Yeah, 85% make zero money or negative money, and 95% make like $400 or less. The statistics in direct
Right.
sales are abysmal. I love direct sales. Thank you for this question. I never get this question. I have so much knowledge on this.
Oh, cool.
So, there are quite a few things. Number one, Creative Memories, the company I was in, was scrapbooking. I made $1,800 to $3,600 a month, which is plenty of money,
That's
especially
a
back
lot.
in the day for a
Yeah.
long time. At this season, when I was hitting this 2014, Creative Memories has gone bankrupt twice. They changed their product line from the scrapbooks they did to like digital scrapbooks and slide in scrapbooks and framing. Like they just lost their direction, and that's why it didn't do well.
That's what I
And
didn't work.
also the compensation structure changed. And so I did not ethically want to add people into the company at that time. It's a great company now. It doesn't have the same structure, but I still use the products. The other companies I was in, like one I'm still in, I've been in it 20 years, is called Manatech. I still take the products. I still make money from that company. It's, a nutritional line. Like those are great companies as well. What I found in Creative Memories, because I did grow a team and all of my team members were profitable. Let me just say that again. All of my team members were profitable because
Amazing.
I taught them what you need to do. And it's 4 things you need to do in business. Number one, you need to have leads. Number two, you need to have customers. When you're focusing on the customers, you need to still have leads coming in. And that is the trick. When you have customers, you often stop getting leads. And when you're focused on leads, if you don't make them pay you something, they never become a customer. So, this customer leads thing is the number one thing that people have to figure out. Once you do that well, you'll get team members. When you have a team member, you tend to stop getting leads because now you're focusing on your customers and your team, which pay you, but you don't get leads. Well, then you lose your leadership because you didn't keep getting leads. And that is the key of direct sales, is knowing how to get all those plates spinning. And then the last one is the administration and the finances. Most people in direct sales don't keep good records at all. The taxes surprise them every single year. And they find out when they do their taxes that they don't make money. Now, this is interesting going into Organize 365. So the first thing I did when I started Organize 365 is I joined a direct sales company. Surprise! So it was called Clever Container. I was consultant number 297. I would have been 296, but I said to my friend at the time, I said, sign up in this company because I'm gonna do this and you're gonna want the money. So she did, and she did. She reaped the money for a long time. I recruited 50 people in that company in 2014. 50 people in that company. I did my taxes in 2013 and I was not profitable. That is nearly impossible to do. The company obviously no longer exists because they didn't have the right compensation structure. It was just a poorly managed and designed company. And so I left in 2013 because I was like, if I can't make money, no one's going to make money. And people did make money for a certain period of time and then they went out of business. So that's what I would say about direct sales, is you have to be in a company where you actually can make money, and then you need to be focused. Because listen, if you are in a direct sales company, you are that direct sales company's customer. You, the consultant, are their customer, and they are going to market to you. Ooh, you have to get this new thing. Ooh, you have to have this in inventory. Ooh, you want to earn this trip, don't you? Ooh, we have this incentive going on. It's not for your customers, it's for you. They're trying to get you to buy. And then you're like, oh, I need this, and everybody needs this. And then you can't sell it to other people. You have to be able to sell it to other people in order to make money in direct sales. And then remember always, you're being sold to, and stop buying it. Stop it. Oh,
That's
I
so
love direct
good.
sales. I love it.
That's so good.
Huge.
I love that. That's awesome. Okay, so now you're in organize. Well, you started Organize 365. What exactly do you do?
Yeah.
What exactly do you organize?
Yeah, well, that's a moving target. So, like I said, I started Clever Container. So I did the parties, and man, I'm good at parties. So I'm only a
I
couple
can
months
tell
into
you got good
Organize
energy.
365.
I was like, we could have a party right now.
Let's have one right now. So I go to my hometown, a high school friend. She's like, I'm gonna have a party for you. I'm like, okay. So I do the party. I thought they'd be all my high school friends. No, I didn't know anybody at this party. I'm like, Maria, who are these people? She's like, these are all people who want to learn from a professional organizer. I'm like, who's a professional organizer? She goes, you. You are a professional organizer. I was like, I'm a professional organizer? She was like, yeah. So I did my little spiel for the container products, and I was like, oh, I'm giving organizing tips. Oh, they want to know about organizing container schmainers. They want to know how to get organized. I was like, oh, well, I can do that. And then I realized for the last decade, I'd been organizing direct sales offices. I'd written a book about organizing direct sales. I'd been paid to go in people's houses to organize. And I was like, oh my gosh, I've been doing this for a decade. I didn't even know what I was doing. So I pivoted the company for 3 to 6 years to an in-home professional organization company in Cincinnati. So glad I did. Learned so many things, organized over 100 houses. And that's when I learned that organization was a learnable skill. Not only could I organize people, but people started canceling on me because I had taught them how to organize and they didn't need me to finish the job. And at first that was horrible because I needed the money. But then it was great because I was like, are you kidding me? You could teach organization. Well, nobody's teaching it. They're just selling containers. Okay, I will teach it because I have a teaching degree and I love to teach, but I'm not going to do a YouTube channel because I'm not perfect enough and my house doesn't look good enough. I'll do a podcast. So I started a podcast. So for over 11 years, I've been teaching people how to get your house organized by looking at your own house and listening to me as I talk about, things that'll organize your time, your information, your physical spaces.
That is so cool. What do you see? I don't know if this is the right question. What's the most unorganized, like what are most people unorganized with? That's the question I'm trying to
Okay,
ask.
so I think what people are thinking is you're thinking of a space in your house that is physically
I'm
unorganized.
thinking anything.
Yeah, what's most unorganized is your information management. So your
Mm.
information management is, you would say maybe it's your file cabinet or the papers that are piled
Yep.
up next to what should be in your file cabinet. But what I've learned in organizing so many people's file cabinets is a couple of things. Number one, even if your file cabinet is perfect, you can't evacuate it in a fire or a hurricane or, any of that. So it's not good because it's not evacuatable. Now you have all your information burning and that's not good. Secondly, a lot of the information is on a computer or in your brain. And digital organization is great for an individual person. Digital information is not great when you have to communicate to someone else. So if it's on your computer and you're trying to communicate to a doctor, not good. If it's on your computer and you and a sibling are trying to advocate for your mom, not good because it's not shared. Whereas physical information is much easier to be shared and much more portable. Also, by the way, when you start taking care of your parents, grandparents, and siblings, some of them don't even own a computer. So everything is definitely paper. So even if you don't have to solve the paper problem, they do. And when you solve this problem and you make your information where people can get it in a binder, or we have this Sunday basket, then your spouse, your siblings, the babysitter, whoever, you could say, oh, go in this basket, get this slash pocket, get the information. It becomes, where do you find information, not go ask your mother.
So where do people store their information? So yeah, you don't want it to burn, but then online you're saying that's not the best if you're running a team necessarily, or
So
explain.
So I am not a digital organizer, mostly because I'm not a digital organizer. I like to think on paper, like here's my notes for our podcast episode.
I was just
When
thinking that I've
I'm
got
online,
this is my
yeah,
podcast book. I'm like, oh, I don't know how organized I am on
yeah.
this.
I did a whole pilot study at a school, and I asked the teachers, how many of you are digital only? And it was only one person. How many of you are a blend of digital and paper? And it was 49%. How many of you are paper only? 50%. These were middle school teachers teaching on computers. And they're like, everything's written on paper. What I love about paper is it actually does encode things deeper into your brain. Scientifically, it is better.
Right.
But also, totally lost my train of thought.
But how do we do with the burning part? You got me scared on the burning part. I'm like,
Yeah,
oh man, I
sorry,
couldn't like burn all my
I
stuff.
should have said that. I was
Like,
like,
what
wow,
do we
that
do
was
with the
really
burning
morbid,
side?
Lisa. Why did you go to the um, yeah, well, it's still in your head. It's still on the computer. It's not like it's the dark ages and you can't recreate this. But usually, where you need paper is when you're in an IEP meeting for your kids and you need to show something. It's when you're in a doctor's appointment for yourself or your mother and you need to show them something. It's when you and your sibling are sitting down and you're going, okay, well, what are the assets that mom has so we can figure out how we're going to care for her going forward? Like every time I log on to the computer, I end up in my email. I didn't even expect to go in my email. Or if I go on my phone, I end up on Instagram. Like we're like programmed to be distracted online. Whereas when I'm organizing it, I organize in analog and I do productivity digitally. So I will email
Mm.
myself something, print it out, do the organization, and then yes, I store things digitally, but I also store things
Okay.
in analog because even if you store it digitally, then is your husband going to go into your Dropbox folder to find the thing? Like they're usually asking you a question like, where is the form for soccer? Where is the prescription note that we need to take for the blood draw we need to do? Where is these are papers. We have papers that we need to find.
So having both.
Yeah.
Okay,
The
that
the
makes
digital
sense.
is for yourself, but the analog is how you share it with somebody else. And you can go
Definitely.
through seasons where you don't need the analog at all, but as soon as you need to enroll another person, print it. Just print it out.
That makes so much sense. I'm still paper planner, and we're bringing in a CRM, and somehow there's some digital like calendar thing, and I'm like, okay, how do I work this? I don't know yet, but I'm like, we'll figure it out, I guess. But yeah, everything's paper. So when you're talking about this, I'm like, this is hitting close to home. And I'm looking at
Yeah.
my day timer, and I'm like, if there's a fire, I know what I gotta grab. People are like, what do
Grab
you
it.
grab? If there's a
Grab it.
fire, it's
Yes.
my
Grab the
day
day timer.
timer, my passport, my credit card, and my phone. Good to go.
Right. Right.
In fact, if the passport gets left, as long as I have a credit card, I'm sure I can figure out a way to make something happen. Money buys you trips somehow. So, all right.
Right.
Um, that's so funny. Funny, not funny, but true. I love it. And so, what do you, what group of people do you find utilize your services the most? Or is there a specific group that, if they're listening to
It's
this, and they're listening, where would someone even start to like, I don't know, start to get organized. By the way, guys, I'm sure you'll want to see some of this information. We'll have the podcast, we'll have the, webpage, all that stuff will definitely be in the show notes. So check that out. But where would someone start? They're like, oh
Yeah, I
my
usually
gosh.
tell people to get started with the Sunday basket. So the Sunday basket is universal. It's a kitchen counter system to you put all your mail in there, but also you put all the projects that are ongoing and it's a weekly planning system. So if you're not
Okay.
used to planning weekly, it's going to teach you how to plan weekly, also clean off your kitchen counters and keep you organized. And as far as it's really any woman, any age who is professionally oriented to be productive, your podcast listeners, like people who listen to podcasts. It's not for
Right.
people who would like to listen to the true crime thing and pretend like there is no household management. They're not going to be interested.
Right. No.
But, you organize differently in your 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, and 70s. And only 17.9% of the US population is married with kids. And almost all organization solutions are for people who are married with kids and they're by people who are married with kids. And I am married with kids, but I have broadened through my PhD my understanding of how we use households through my professional organization, understanding that, like a 60-year-old woman who is single and ready to get remarried again because she's widowed runs a household much differently than people in their 30s with married with two kids, than someone in their 20s who's coming to Cincinnati because they are, in their P&G stint where they have to be here 18 months, but they're single. And like you run your household differently based on your family composition, but you need similar systems and structures in order to run them.
Believe that organization. And I'm just like thinking, my brain's just I'm like, what do I need to organize? um, I'm,
Everything.
yeah, and I'm pretty OCD, so organization is kind of the thing. So, if someone, was looking for that, they would reach out to you, I'm guessing. Tell us a little bit about your process on how you onboard, yourself, how you onboard clients.
Yeah, so basically I just have a store. So it's the organized 365 store, and every product has three components. So the Sunday basket is a physical basket, like you're going to get school supplies sent to your house. It's a basket, it has these slash pockets in it. Then there's an online course because I'm a teacher, so I'll have the course. And then there's a community aspect. So we have our own app, and there's a feed in there so you could talk to everybody else who's organizing whatever you're organizing. And then we have a co-working club on Sunday, so you could do it with people because you're like in school. And once you move on from the Sunday basket, we have a paper solution that has the binders. We have a system for organizing your whole house. We have a system for organizing holidays, or just all these different classes you could take, and you get your school supplies and everything that goes with it.
That's so cool. If you guys aren't watching this on YouTube, you need to check it out on YouTube. The energy, Lisa's energy. I'm like, you're making this sound really fun to organize. I'm
Yeah,
like,
I'm your
I
fourth
don't
grade
think it's as
teacher, or
fun as
whoever
it
your
sounds.
favorite one was.
Yeah, I just love it. I'm
It
like, you're
is.
like, I love that. This is why she does this and is good at it. And,
Thank you.
and so many people maybe aren't as organized because I don't think they find it this fun. You definitely find it fun and it's awesome. Very, very cool. So, as you went into, but what I do find interesting, and you grew up entrepreneurial, but I'm curious, how
Mhm.
maybe your husband wasn't as entrepreneurial. You went from working like nine, oh, this is good. You went from working like nine jobs and all of a sudden you're going to start your own business, which for most people, like they're trying to
Oh
make
my
money.
gosh.
Normally becoming an entrepreneur, I get you already doing some of it through direct sales, but normally becoming an entrepreneur, even doing that scares a lot of people. Direct sales scares a lot of people. So, how
Yeah.
is that in the family dynamic of like, honey, we need to make more money. And now I'm going to go like do direct sales
Yeah.
and I'm going to be an entrepreneur and like all those things.
I scare my husband daily. He's come to my office. Like I have an 8,000 square foot office warehouse. Our son works here and everything. He's come here twice. I think he pretends that I don't actually have a job. He's like, if the IRS comes, like, I'm just gonna say I don't know you. I'm like, everything I'm doing is legal, Greg. Like the IRS
Oh
is set
my.
up for business owners. So ironically, his dad is an entrepreneur. His stepdad was an entrepreneur, but he's just not an entrepreneur. He has had the same exact job since the day after he graduated college. The
Wow.
business has been sold 6 times, and he is still working in the same job. He just keeps going wherever the company goes. He likes stability. He likes the same job. He likes knowing he's good at what he does and he's inside of a corporate structure. He sees me as a crazy woman. But it always works. When I quit my job at the end of December 2011, I said, I'm quitting my teaching job. I was making $500 a week. And he was like, well, you better find a direct sales company fast. That's all he said to me
That's what he
because he knew I
said.
would replace, yep, he knew I'd replace the teaching job. So when I actually moved from the direct sales company to the Organized 365, he was actually very scared, I think, because a direct sales company, I don't know,
It
that's some
has a
other company that you're
structure.
working for.
Right. You're
Yeah.
still working
I'm
for a
doing it
company.
myself.
Yeah.
Well, Clever Container made it to $1 million in sales, and we have surpassed that. So I was like, see, like I agreed to something that's bigger than that. But it's very scary when that is not your orientation, you know?
And
And
how did you handle that? Like, I feel like, like, because I get a lot of people that, go to start a business or, whether it's direct sales or whether it's, starting a company, whatever it is, and maybe their spouses. And because we're specifically talking a little bit to women throughout all of this organization,
yeah.
especially the women listening to this, I'm going to say, but I mean, I think either way, because I know guys that work the other way. Um, how did you handle it? And like, what would you give for a word of advice to someone that's like, my spouse maybe wasn't as supportive necessarily? Like, what do you give for advice?
So I'll tell you the two mindset shifts that happened for me. And then I don't know, take the advice from that as you want.
Okay.
One was it was probably 2018 or 19. And I have inventory. So I kept taking the income of the company and putting it in inventory. And then I got a small warehouse and then I started hiring people. And so I kept putting all of our profit back into the company. And at one point, I was like, oh, I could probably pull some of this profit out, but then it would raise my salary. And I was so used to being the person that earned the school money and the I don't earn mortgage money. Like my husband earns the mortgage money. Mine's all fun and extra. And I remember thinking, ooh, if I make more money, maybe my husband will divorce me because that's what I saw with all these successful women, like women who make it big. And then all of a sudden, next thing you know, they're in this big house and they're
Right.
divorced. And like, that's not what I wanted. And so I
Right.
remember it was the summer, we're sitting on the back patio. And I said to my husband, I said, I could make more money. And he's like, you could? He was like, look around, like, we need more money. And I was like, yeah, well, I was afraid you'll divorce me. And he's like, make more money. So I was like, okay. So I raised my salary and I started making more money. And then, but I was running all this from home. So we also had gotten a dog. And I was like, oh shoot, I'm going to sabotage my business because I can't do an organizing job during the day because I have to let the puppy out. Because I was still pretending to be the stay-at-home mom. My kids were in high school. I was running this company. I had employees, but I was still working from home and doing all the stay-at-home jobs. So then
Interesting.
the COVID happens. My husband went to Florida to visit his dad, and he came home and he had to work from home for a week because he had to self-quarantine. You remember that land
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
lived in?
Yeah.
I had an 8,000 square foot office and warehouse that people were working in every single day, but I was still working from home to let the dog out. Okay, let's just, it was a
Oh
multi-million
my
dollar company.
God. Okay.
This is where like just and so we're sitting there on Monday
Interesting.
and he's got his AM radio on and he's doing his calls and I'm annoyed because I'm doing podcast interviews. It'd be better if we're quiet. And I was like, Lisa, you idiot. You have an office. Like the office I'm in today, it's gorgeous. It's got a conference table, a beautiful desk. And I was working from home because I had to let the dog out. I was like, well, he's here on quarantine. I'm going to go to
You
the
let the
office. And
dog
that
out.
day, it was January 2021. I came into work and I said, you know what? I work here now. He can drive home at lunch and let the dog out. January 2021, after we were a multi-million dollar business, after I was already paying myself a salary and all of the things I was doing, that's when I finally mentally recognized I was an employee of my own company. In my mind, I was a
Wow.
stay-at-home mom until that day. And it took that to get me in here. And then I was in here, I was like, well, if all of these other women are able to come into the office and leave their dogs and kids and husbands, maybe I, as the owner, could do that too, maybe.
And it's probably powerful
We
for your
just,
people to see you in the office
oh yeah, they're
also
like, oh hey, we weren't expecting you at your own
at your
company.
own
I was
office.
like, oh my gosh, what am I doing? So yeah,
Wow.
we get so used to what we do, and especially if you're growing your own company and you started from nothing, your mindset is who you were when you started the company. It's really hard for you to see, the size of the company, the impact, all those things. It's hard for you to see you changing as an employee of your company.
Wow, so good.
Yeah.
I'm like thinking, I'm like, I gotta spend some time on think on this. Like, what do I need to,
Yeah.
what do
Yeah.
I need to change? Who do I need to become? Who do I need to change,
Yes.
to run my business at the next level?
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, that's
Mm-hmm.
powerful and very open and
Yeah.
vulnerable for sharing, by the way, because it's kind of funny, but
It is funny.
and it's like, okay. And then it's like, okay, now, and for you as you go, I think this is cool because you're evolving. It's like, who's now the next level? Maybe it's not at the office. Maybe it's, I don't know, right? Like that, just that
Oh, it's
thought of like,
traveling, and they're not happy about it. The family's not happy about it. So I got a PhD when my grandson was 1. I started when he was 1. I'm finishing now. He's going before he starts kindergarten. That was my goal. My daughter's had another baby now. They live with us. We help a lot. I did that because I needed something that was going to take a lot of my time. So 25 hours a week on the PhD, 30 hours a week in the business is what I've been doing, 55 hours a week working, but travel, like it's travel. And my daughter, after she had the baby, she said, so I know we're going to the beach in July. She had the baby in December. She's asking me this beginning of January. I know we're going to the beach in July as our family trip. And I know you and dad are going to go to Italy in September because you had to reschedule it twice. You don't have any other travel, do you? And I just started going, this place in January, this place in January, and I have like 1 to 2 trips every single month. And her mouth just dropped. She was like, and I said, yeah, you had a baby. I travel. I am a CEO of a company and I travel. And I said, I only stopped traveling because you had a high risk pregnancy and I canceled everything for you. But now you've had the baby. Hi, I travel. It's not comfortable. She doesn't like it. My husband doesn't like it. I love it. I love it. And I'm 54, you guys. I'm 54. I raised the kids. I'm here for the mother-in-law, the husband, the whatever. Da, da, da. We are allowed to be really, really good at something in our 50s that we didn't even do in our 30s. And the family, it's okay. They'll be okay. They're going to be okay. They like the trips. They like that I make money. Like they like the benefits.
wow, that's so cool. How do you, because a lot of people are listening to this and I'm sure that they're listening and they're like, wow, that sounds amazing. How do they let the guilt go to
Oh,
live for
thank you.
themselves?
Thank you for asking this question. So I think it goes back to a chapter in my new book called Escaping Quicksand. Escaping Quicksand is really what are the mental mindset shifts I made to go from being reactive to proactive before I even got organized. It's really a mindset shift book about how do you provide yourself self-care. And self-care is not just a bubble bath, but how do you really like get a PhD in your 50s when you don't even need to? Because I'm not getting another job just because I want to do research. And the family's like, no. And I'm like, yes, because I just wanted to, because I wanted to for my self professionalism and growth and whatever. For you, it might be a marathon. For me, it was a PhD. I'm a nerd. But the shift happened in my 40s. And here was the shift. I have never been a perfectionist because I'm not capable. Couldn't get straight A's, just the whole 9 yards. I'm not a perfectionist. I get a lot of stuff done and none of it is perfect. That's why I have a team. But along the way, I was like, okay, I'm not a perfectionist. I'm not a perfectionist. And I'm like, I understand I'm not a perfectionist. I don't have guilt over it. I don't have judgment over it anymore. But also, it's kind of like, like I'm just mailing it in, like I don't care. It's kind of like how I felt when I would say I'm not a perfectionist. So I replaced it in my 40s with I am a woman of excellence. I do a lot of things excellently. I give excellent effort. I have excellent energy. I, do the best I can with the resources that I have for everyone that is in my sphere of influence, but I'm never going to be perfect. And the difference is once you replace perfection with excellence, you replace the judgment that you feel of perfection with grace. And once you can internalize, you're right, I missed a spot when I was painting that room, but the room is painted and I did it as excellently as I could. And I saved a lot of money because I did it myself. You, I'm rubber, you're glue. Whatever you say bounces off me back to you. Like, judge me all you want, but I do not receive it. Like, take it back. I do not want to have it. And I am going to give myself grace because I got the job done. I saved us a lot of money and it's off the to-do list. And I'm on to the next thing. And also, who cares? Who cares if the house isn't painted perfectly? It's painted, right? And it doesn't need to be perfect. Now, if I was a brain surgeon, you might have concerns. Please, all brain surgeons, heart surgeons, pilots, be perfect.
He's perfect.
I don't have those jobs. I'm a teacher. I'm a
Right.
teacher and a blogger and a podcaster. Like, I don't have to be perfect. I just have to be excellent. And
Right.
once you really internalize that and do the rubber I'm glue thing, and you start to stop judging yourself or accepting judgment of you and give yourself grace, you become a person who gives grace. You become a person who doesn't judge other people. And it is so freeing. It is really hard. It takes quite a long time to do it. I tell a story in my book about how you know the difference when you organize a silverware drawer and it is perfect and all the little spoons are sleeping together in a stack and you close the drawer. If you open it the next time and the stack has toppled over and you know who in your family has toppled that over and you're like, then you are not living in grace. You are living in judgment. But when you're living in grace, you open up and you go, oh, that's so great. Somebody made their own food for themselves. That's awesome. And you just move on. You're just like, I'm living in an unperfect house and it's fine and it'll be organized again later. That is grace, not perfection.
So good. Well, guys, I know we could go on forever, but I always respect the time. So I always have three final questions in wrapping up, and then anything we didn't touch on. And like I said, definitely reach out to Lisa. All her stuff will be in the show notes, her book, all the stuff. I'm sure you want to check it out. First and final question is, if someone is looking for their purpose, what's one sentence you could say that could help them find it?
What did you love to do when you were a kid? What did you love to do?
You were a kid.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
I organized my bedroom.
Did
My
you?
mom would send me to timeout, probably because I was talking too much. And I would completely reorganize the bedroom every single time.
That's like multitasking for mom. Like, what a great thing. Send the kid to the
Yeah,
room and they clean it.
right.
Awesome. Second question, what's a favorite quote and why?
I have a lot. I don't have a favorite. I have a lot. I don't really have a favorite quote.
What's one that comes to mind that you like?
Yeah, I can't even think of one. Isn't that terrible? Oh, you know what Bill Gates said a long time ago? You underestimate what you could do in 10 years. You overestimate what you could do in 1 year and underestimate what you could do in 10 years. And I have adopted that quote and I say that you overestimate what you could do in a weekend. Like, I'm going to take back this house in a weekend. And you underestimate what you could do in 1 year. So 1 year of focused effort, 15 to 30 minutes a day of organizing in the right order, which we didn't get to. You have to do it in the right order. Your whole house will get organized. But if you just keep doing these big weekends every couple of weeks of like, take back the house, you're just on a hamster wheel and you're going to keep doing it over and over and over again.
So good. Third and final question. What's one word or sentence you want on your gravestone?
Well, I'm going to be cremated. But something about grace. Like, give yourself grace. You guys, we're just so hard on ourselves. Why are we so hard on ourselves? I love one starfish. Like, you tell that story of the boy is walking and he throws a starfish back in the ocean. Why are you doing that? It's not you can't make a difference. Well, I made a difference for that one. Like, give yourself grace. You're not going to be perfect. Just give yourself grace.
So good. All right. We run into someone in the coffee shop and they're working on things and said hopefully reach out and stuff. But what's something we didn't touch on that you think would be really impactful for our listeners?
Oh, I think I don't think you can hit everything all at one time. Just This conversation happened to be about the funniness of being an entrepreneur. Haven't had a podcast like this before. I really love it. And then that I don't take yourself so seriously. Just, do your next best thing and have grace. There's so many other things we could talk about, but each conversation is its own little chapter.
So good, guys. Let's go out there. Let's share this. Let's share Lisa's work. I'm sure if the world became more organized, that would be awesome. For my OCD self, I like the idea of more organization. Let's go out there. You said share it. If we can help one person or one starfish at a time together, we can change the world. Thanks for being on, Lisa.
Thank you.